All right. Welcome, Ged. We've tracked you down, buddy. What's going on?
It's been an exciting couple of weeks. There's no doubt. We got
Okay.
open, so I feel like I've been there an absurd amount, and my apologies for the delay on this.
That's right. It looks like the place is bumping.
Yeah, it's doing all right. It's busier than expected, which is something you want to hear when you open a golf simulator in the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we've been a little behind on the Bad Batch. We have 3 episodes have passed, and you know what? I think let's review these as their own little mini arc. I know
All
it
right.
wasn't an arc, but they kind of tie into each other pretty
They
good.
kind
I
they kind
found.
of do
Yeah. Whether you want to call it the Rampart arc or
the ramp arc.
yeah, or the Mission Find Omega arc. They all kind of flow quite nicely together, and I think
Yeah.
quality wise, they're all on the same kind of pillar, anyways, from my perspective. Um, so first episode we have was the Juggernaut,
Mm-hmm.
and it sees them going to free. Well, Crosshair gives them a tip that it was Crosshair, right? It's been 2 weeks now. Gives them a
Yep.
tip that who could potentially find Tantus for them, and we come full circle to season 1 and 2's villain. Was he still the villain in season 2?
He definitely wasn't one.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
think the only villain in season 2 was the bad one-off episodes.
yeah, true that.
Yeah.
So we reconnect with Admiral Rampart, who is now a laborer on a prison planet. So we rescue him, and we get a cool scene with 2 Juggernauts fighting each other. And like the Juggernaut's always been kind of like this awesome, New Republic tank, essentially, that we
Mm-hmm.
don't really ever, we haven't really seen it a whole lot in live action. Or well,
Yeah.
not live
Yeah.
action,
Yeah.
but in animation live action, right? You see it briefly in Revenge of the Sith. It's a little bit in the Clone Wars. So it was kind of neat to see 2 of them go at it. I always appreciate seeing different Star Wars locations and maybe lesser, known or less popular vehicles go at it. So,
Yep.
and we see one in Rogue One, not to get off topic, but it's prison transport. Remember when they bust
That's
Jin
right. Yep.
out? Yeah, so it was nice. I like that Rampart's back to connection, and I like that he still seems to be a dick and evil. Like he's
He
not like,
really
oh my
is.
god, I can't wait to join you guys and be part of the rebellion. Like he's
Yeah.
just like, yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that you saw this come back around, and of course, I mean, how wonderfully poetic that it would have to be him that would help, right?
yeah. The other note I wrote down for is, what exactly? This might sound, I don't know. Maybe I was overthinking it, but like, what exactly are the kids used for? The Force sensitive kids, because they got Omega, and
Mhm.
for all intents and purposes, we know they have Palpatine's DNA. So why do they need the 4 other kids? I can't remember what triggered it in that scene. They said something for me to write this down, but like, or no, I wrote down the other piece of the puzzle. Like I felt like, is there something else from the kids they're using, or I don't know if we maybe 100% know everything that they're going on, because we know they need Omega's DNA to stabilize the force, like the midichlorian count in a clone.
Yep.
We know that part.
Right.
But why the kids though? If you really think
I think it was mentioned during the Asajj Ventress episode.
Mhm.
She mentions that it's not just about your midichlorian count; it's how you can mature and use it. So I'm going to assume that because it's been the thing, right? Everyone has a midichlorian count. Midichlorians are everywhere. It's just certain people have the gift to be able to use it, but not everybody can. I'm wondering if the other kids, even though they have an M count, maybe they can maximize theirs more, and then they can cross that with Omega's raw M count DNA.
Yeah,
Because you might have someone that's like almost like the character from Ahsoka, who has, who is barely force
Sabine, yeah.
sensitive, Sabine, and she's trying to maximize that. So what you need is a maximizer, and you need somebody with an absurd amount of M count. That's my guess as to what they need. So they get them to play these games to stimulate their mind so they can see who's further along in development. It's my only guess.
I guess it's not the worst thing to have other force sensitives at demand, right? When you need samples drawn and stuff like that. But I might have to go back and watch the end of it because now I'm fuzzy on why I wrote that down. But I thought someone said something along the things that made me think that way. But yeah, it's a snatch and grab type episode. But I thought it was well done, and it was a nice surprise to see Rampart come back.
Yeah.
Next episode was Into the Breach. Was that what it was called?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That one I really enjoyed. I liked how their way of finding Tantus and the way they executed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, like just like the writing, I guess, would be the best part of it, and obviously how they executed it. But I liked that the Empire. It makes sense. The Empire would have a location so secure. It's not like you could just get coordinates, right?
Yeah. You had to get on that science vessel.
Everything's from that station, and then as the ships leave, the coordinates are beamed to you, and then you get off. Love that whole setup. I like them obviously using Rampart to be like, can you still act like an officer? And he's, he gives a snide remark.
This is a captain's uniform. I am you've been demoted.
Yeah. So he's able to get right back into his mode there and just walk around that station, which I thought was pretty cool.
Doesn't even say I've missed this.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was an exciting transition too of trying to dock the stolen shuttle on to the science vessel as they're leaving.
So good.
And with Echo on board, obviously with all that timing as it jumps. The only time when you see stuff like that, I can't help but think like there's a giant station there with probably bajillion sensors. There's a science vessel. Can they not detect that this random shuttle is just heading towards it? You know what I mean? And then but I guess more on that later. But the one thing I thought also was interesting was I wrote down when they're like, we need to get someone on board, but we can't make it or something like that. But Echo says, but I can.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, I'm like, why? Obviously, we find out because of the droid piece of it, but it was interesting that he just automatically assumed, like, yeah, you guys can't get on there, but I know I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was the right play. He knew his role.
Yeah. I saw somewhere that someone inferred that Echo transmitted the coordinates once he was on the ship to they're maybe assuming Rex. Did you get that at all? I didn't get that.
No, or else they wouldn't have needed to attach themselves. Yeah,
it looked like he was shutting some stuff down on the ship, like obviously the sensors and doing other things, but I don't think he was transmitting anything.
No.
And I also didn't get that in the next episode. And then I guess the only other piece of that episode was Omega with her little, breaking out of her cell, taking a look what's going on. So she's obviously taking control of her situation, which again comes with the training and experience she's gotten with her brothers.
Yeah.
And then that all leads into the episode last night, which was Flash Strike.
You thought that was going to be the end of it. But,
I looked up 2 weeks ago, like Bad Batch episodes and stuff like that. And it only went to 14, but now they've posted a 15. So all the other seasons were 16. So maybe there still is 2 more. It would make sense. I just don't know why they don't have all the episodes listed out ahead of time. Not that we need the names, but at least give us an episode count.
Yeah.
Great opening to Flash Strike. I don't know if you noticed, like as the Bad Batch intro was on, it was like a heavy like drum pound and like riff started. Like, we're getting heavy, and then it subsided right away, but it got right into the action. So they jump out of hyperspace, and the writing on these last episodes has been point because I love that Tantus was immediately aware that Clone Force 99 was sighted at the station, and they may or may not have gotten on board.
Yep, so, and the fact they knew that Rampart was with them.
Yeah, so they knew all that, and that to me, again, like that would have been kind of a plot hole with how important the station is to have these people infiltrate that station and no one like really noticed what was going on. So love that. And I love that they scrambled the fighters right away. Again, V-Wings are, ships we don't really see all that often. I know you see them here and there, but even the Clone Wars, it was mostly like the Arc Starfighters and the Y-wing bombers and stuff like that. So it's always nice to see the V-wings ripping around, because the Bad Batch has showcased them a bit.
Yep.
I love the dogfight with the shuttle.
Yep.
And
And I like that they didn't do well in it.
Yeah.
My biggest fear was that they were going to be up against all of these V-wings in a top secret facility, and they were somehow going to maneuver the shuttle around and take them all out. I like the fact that it didn't go well for them.
Yeah, when he flipped around and blasted the one, I was like, great. Now he's going to get the other two. And he didn't. It was just the one. And then they started their crash landing. And I liked how they got off the shuttle. Like, drop it down with the cables and stuff like that, basically ejecting. Like, again, that was something we haven't really seen in Star Wars before. So I thought it was creative, them falling into the jungle. And then it was great banter back and forth between them and Rampart.
Oh,
and
did he make it? Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So love that setup. So we see they don't make it inside yet, but we see Echo maneuver his way off the ship. I like how he takes the droid's hand so he doesn't have a stub.
So good.
He bypasses all the checks. He gets in. He gets into the system. He's looking around. And then what the hell's her name? Who's the doctor?
Emery.
Yeah. Emery catches him. They both obviously have heard of each other, and looks like they're gonna have to trust each other to go forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it. Emery, I've been so fascinated by this character the entire time. I was really worried she was going to try and turn him in. It was going to go bad. I love that it didn't.
Yeah, and we suspected she's going to be the next one, just like Namaste, like turn, because you could tell she's empathetic to the kids, whereas the other doctor with her is like total cold-hearted.
Yeah.
And again, they set up the vault is like the most highest secure place on this facility. It would make sense you need Emery to get through that. So I like that team up. I like where it's heading. And the other kind of cool nod we got, again, I like all these threads from previous episodes starting to weave their way in. When Omega's doing her little climbing around on the inside of the place, we get a little glimpse of the Zelo Beast in prison, and they're blasting it, but when they did that earlier, that caused the Zelo to grow, right? It was absorbing the energy. So they're actively pissing that thing off and making it bigger.
Yeah.
And Omega calls out, like, I have an idea on how we're
going. I have a plan. I need your help. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Zelo Beast looks like it will be unleashed. Next week's episode is called The Cavalry Has Arrived. So is it pretty obvious that Rex and company are showing up?
Absolutely.
So if they are showing up, did Echo transmit those coordinates, or will he
I bet you he did when they got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he did access some of those computers and he was looking at stuff, but like nothing, I don't know, nothing to me looked like he was transmitting anything. It looked like he was getting like a layout of the station of Mount Tantus more than anything. But I don't know. Let us know in the comments if anyone has a definitive, if they thought Echo actually sent something out. Because you would think outgoing transmissions would be jammed. You know what I mean? Like that might be restricted to like certain terminals or IDs or something like that, but who knows? Yeah, so I think that's all I had for note wise. I just thought these 3 episodes flowed really well together.
Agreed. And the writing, the writing was on another level for the 3 of them.
Yeah. It was very believable for a make-believe universe. Yeah.
For laser swords and spacecrafts.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was having a good time with it. So let's rate all these 3 as a single episode.
Solid 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm probably you know what? I really enjoyed this last one. I think that's enough to knock it up to 8.6. I feel the tension is mounting and the stakes are being all put on the table. So we know it's escalating, and I can't wait for The Cavalry Has Arrived. And I'm assuming one more after that. You'd think they'd put them as a 2-part finale if it really is going to be the finale. Like ending on a 24-minute episode for a finale seems kind of weak.
Are we sure they're not going to launch both?
They might. They might. I
You
hope
said
they
they've launched
do.
a 15, but not a 16 yet.
If you look at the episode listings, there's details for a 15. Maybe that 15 is a double episode. Like maybe it's
That's
just
what I was wondering.
maybe it's like a 40-minute episode.
Yeah.
I would hope. So that would be on the May 1st, and then on Saturday, May the 4th, Tales of the Empire comes out. So lots of Star Wars content coming.
Yep.
Yeah. Has anything in these episodes changed how you think the season's going to end or the series is going to end?
Unfortunately, no. I still think we see someone's demise. I don't think they're going back to Key West, Florida, and living happily ever after.
Because we've both suspected it's going to be all the reason why they're building these clones up, right? And Tantus has clones imprisoned. You figured this is what they're leading to, like a full clone resurrection, revolution, attack, right? To free all their brothers from all this testing and stuff like that. But mind you, they're going to be killing a lot of the people protecting it are clone commandos, right? So it'll be interesting. Like, do they awaken them? Do they realize they have to kill, the rest of these clones? But yeah, it's heading to, it's probably going to be a darker ending as well, because, what do you do with all the Bad Batch? And we've highly suspected most of them will probably die.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the Asajj show back up. And I think you're going to see the clones unfortunately vanquish, and Asajj and Omega will leave.
Because the next time we see Rex, like it's him, Gregor, and Wolf, and they're on that ATTE in the desert, like no armor on, dad bods, like giving up on life, right? So, and we know Wolf. We saw Wolf a few episodes ago. He's still leading the Wolf Pack for the Empire. He hasn't come over yet. They obviously have Gregor on their side, but do those three just were the best tight and went on their own, or did a bunch of people die and those were the last three ones left, right? So probably the latter. Unfortunately, it's going to be dark times for the clones. Has your opinion changed on Omega at all? Omega surviving this?
No, no, if anything, it's just for me more strength in her character. I love the sass. I love the leadership. No, I don't think you see her perish.
It'd be really tough to kill off a child.
Fact.
You know what I mean? For Disney standards.
Yeah.
So they got a little bit of a conundrum a little bit with her. Like like her value, I feel, is like similar to like Grogu in the Mandalorian, right? Like her DNA is special. Ventress proved that she does have the ability to tap into that M count a little bit with training. Right. So the fact that she's a clone, she knows everything she knows. Like, if she survives, she literally should be on, when the Empire has their most wanted list, right? Like Obi-Wan, Cal Kestis, like Omega's got to be.
You would think
on that list as a, she's probably a, take back alive candidate, but so it'll be interesting to see what they do with her character and how they explain it away, or is she going to be part of a new series? But they haven't really done things where they've taken a main character from one series and then just copy and pasted them into the next show. So I don't think she would be the star, but maybe she has a small part to play. Like Ahsoka was the main part of the Clone Wars, but she was only in and out of Rebels a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And the Bad Batch showed up in one arc in Clone Wars, and then they got their own series. So like, they're not going to have something focused directly on Omega, but they got to explain what happens to her, where she goes.
It'll be interesting to see where they take it.
Yeah. All right. So we will be back at some point in time.
Next Wednesday or Thursday.
Timing TBD.
TBD.
Yeah. But let us know in the comments what you thought of these episodes, and let us know where you think this finale is going to go. And we'll see everyone next week. Peace out.